The vast archives of the Galactic Council were unlike any other library in the known universe. It stretched endlessly in all directions, filled with towering shelves of holographic data, ancient scrolls, and databases that contain knowledge from countless species across the galaxy. Here, every race, no matter how ancient or powerful, had left their mark. But no one expected what was about to be uncovered in this sacred place of knowledge. Among the top researchers of the Galactic Council, Dr. Eris Solon, a brilliant but cautious scientist, was meticulously reviewing a set of Archaic scriptures that had long been deemed unimportant. They were old, ancient even, from a time when civilizations had barely begun to interact with the stars. Most of the records were of little interest, but something in the symbols caught his attention. One word, in particular, stood out: humans. At first, Dr. Solon dismissed it as a coincidence. The term humans could have been a translation error, or perhaps a misinterpretation of another species' name. However, as he scanned further, his eyes widened in disbelief. The scripture didn't just mention humans. It described them as powerful beings who had once been masters of the stars. According to the ancient texts, humans were not a race of insignificant creatures. They were warriors, conquerors, and builders of unimaginable technology. The scrolls detailed that they had shaped entire galaxies, wielding power so great that even the Council's oldest and most advanced civilizations feared them. A rush of excitement coursed through Dr. Solon's veins. This was unlike anything they had ever found. As he dug deeper into the texts, he discovered more details that sent shivers down his spine. The scriptures spoke of humans not just as advanced, but as possessing abilities that no other species could comprehend. Abilities far beyond the cutting-edge technology of the Galactic Council's most powerful races. These abilities weren't just technological marvels. They were biological. Some of the texts even referred to humans as survivors, hinting at a resilience that no other species had ever matched. The Council had always thought of itself as the pinnacle of civilization, the most technologically advanced power in the galaxy. But now, it seemed that Earth, a small, remote planet that the Council had ignored for millennia, might have been the cradle of a race far more formidable than they had ever imagined. Dr. Solon, unable to hide his shock, immediately reported his findings to the Council. The news spread like wildfire through the ranks of the Galactic Council. An emergency meeting was called, with every important figure in the galaxy's political and military hierarchy arriving at the Council chambers. The atmosphere was tense. They had never encountered anything like this before. No one knew what to make of the evidence that humans could still be alive, hiding on a seemingly insignificant planet called Earth. The lead member of the Council, Grand Elder Varro, stood at the center of the assembly. His face, usually calm and calculated, now displayed concern. He read through the reports in silence before speaking. "This is unexpected," he said in a deep, gravelly voice. "The scriptures speak of a race capable of conquering the stars, possessing technology and power beyond our understanding. Yet they are referred to as humans, a name we have never encountered in all of our records. How can this be?" Dr. Solon, trembling slightly, spoke up. "We have reason to believe that Earth still exists, and that humans could still be alive. We don't know how or why they were forgotten, but the evidence is there. The scriptures, the records, and the data we've uncovered point to a thriving civilization, waiting to be rediscovered." The room fell into stunned silence. If humans were indeed still alive, they could pose a threat to the very fabric of the Council's control over the galaxy. There was no way of knowing just how powerful they had become or what they were capable of. The Council had to decide quickly how to handle this newfound threat. The discovery could not be ignored. "What do we do now?" asked an officer from one of the Galactic Council's military fleets, his voice laced with concern. "Should we send a fleet to investigate, to see if this is true?" "We need to be careful," warned another high-ranking member. "The last thing we want is to provoke a race we know nothing about. We can't afford to make the same mistake the ancients did when they faced them." A murmur spread throughout the chamber as discussions became heated. Should they investigate further, risking their own safety? Or should they erase all evidence of the humans, ensuring their power never returned? Grand Elder Vero remained calm, but his eyes burned with concern. He had heard rumors of humans, legends, mostly, but nothing concrete. This new revelation was far more than just a myth. It could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The Elder paused, deep in thought. We need to investigate, but we do so carefully. No one must know of this. If the humans are as powerful as these texts suggest, we cannot risk letting them rebuild their strength. For now, we'll continue to monitor Earth discreetly. We'll send out a team of experts to gather more data. There was a collective nod of agreement from the Council, but not everyone was satisfied. In the shadows of the Council chamber, a small faction of high-ranking members had a different agenda. These individuals saw an opportunity to control Earth and the humans who might still inhabit it. If the humans were truly as powerful as the scriptures suggested, they could be used as weapons, tools of conquest. A secret plan began to form within this faction, one that would stop at nothing to harness the humans' power. These conspirators knew that the Council's decision to investigate, or even wipe away evidence, wouldn't stop the truth from spreading. The humans' legacy was far too powerful to ignore. Meanwhile, Dr. Solon, though still shaken by the implications of his discovery, couldn't help but wonder what Earth would look like now. Would humanity still have the power they once held, or had they dwindled into obscurity? His heart raced at the thought of meeting humans, of learning about them firsthand. As the meeting ended, the Council members filed out, each deep in their thoughts, but the air was thick with a sense of urgency. The next move was crucial. They had to tread carefully, for any mistake could lead to a war with a species that might be far beyond their reach. Yet, in the deepest, most secret chambers of the Galactic Council, the plans of the shadowy faction began to take shape. They would stop at nothing to unlock the potential of humanity's power, no matter the cost. The stage was set, and the galaxy was about to be rocked by the return of a force long forgotten: humans. The Galactic Council's decision had been made. An elite team of explorers was dispatched to Earth, tasked with uncovering the truth about humanity. Led by Captain Lyra Kellen, a fearless leader with years of experience in the field, the mission was clear: find humanity, study their strengths, and determine whether they could be a powerful ally or a dangerous threat. Captain Kellen wasn't new to dangerous missions, but this one felt different. Her past was marked by loss of friends, family, and comrades in numerous battles across the galaxy. She had seen the horror of war firsthand, and the weight of that history sat heavily on her shoulders. The idea of humanity, long thought to be a myth, had haunted her thoughts since the first report came through the Council's archives. But as the team set their course for Earth, something deep inside her stirred. Perhaps, just perhaps, these humans were more than the legends told. Maybe they could be the key to her people's future. The journey was long, and the team spent most of it in silence, each of them preparing in their own way for what awaited them on Earth. Their ship, a sleek, high-tech vessel capable of crossing vast distances, pierced through the darkness of space. As they approached Earth, the planet appeared small and insignificant at first, like any other unremarkable world. Yet there was something about it that made Lyra's heart race. This was the place where humanity had once thrived, the place where the galaxy's fate could change forever. When they finally descended into Earth's atmosphere, the first shock hit them. The planet wasn't as they expected. Earth, as the Council had cataloged it, was classified as a Dith world, a designation given to planets that were hostile, unpredictable, and dangerous to any outside life. In theory, it was a place that most species would avoid at all costs. But the truth was far worse than they had imagined. As the explorers touched down in the heart of a dense forest, the environment immediately revealed its deadly nature. The air was thick with humidity, and strange sounds echoed through the trees, sounds that didn't belong to any known creature. Lyra's team deployed cloaking devices to stay hidden from any potential threats, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. The moment they activated the cloaking tech, it malfunctioned. One by one, their devices flickered and failed, leaving them exposed. "I thought we had fixed the cloaks," one of the explorers, a skilled engineer named Dax, muttered, inspecting his device. "This shouldn't be happening." Before anyone could respond, a massive roar shook the forest, and the team immediately fell into defensive formation. Something huge and fast moved through the trees, a blur of shadows and sharp claws. The first attack came without warning. A massive beast, its eyes glowing with unnatural intensity, lunged at the group. Lyra acted instinctively, drawing her plasma blade and slashing through the beast's hide. The creature recoiled, but it wasn't the only one. A swarm of smaller, equally vicious creatures appeared from the undergrowth, their fangs gleaming in the dim light. The team fought valiantly, but they were outmatched. Their weapons were advanced, but they had no time to adjust to the overwhelming nature of Earth's wildlife. The hostile creatures seemed to anticipate their every move, forcing the team to retreat into a small clearing where they made their stand. "Fall back into the clearing," Lyra shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. The team scrambled, but as they regrouped, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. The creatures weren't the only danger on this planet. Someone, or something, was watching them from the shadows. And that's when they heard the sound of something far more ominous, a low mechanical hum. Alien ships, cloaked just like their own, began to emerge from the sky. They were not here to make contact. They were here to stop the explorers from learning the truth about humanity. "We've been tracked," Lyra said, her voice grim. The Galactic Council wasn't the only one interested in Earth. As the alien ships began to descend, their energy weapons powered up, ready to rain destruction on the team. Panic swept through the explorers. They had no cloaking devices, no way to hide, and no way to fight back against the advanced weaponry of these enemies. They were trapped. In that moment of desperation, the impossible happened. A lone figure appeared from the forest's edge, moving with an agility and precision that stunned the team. It was a human, young, dressed in simple combat gear, but with a calm demeanor that radiated confidence. Without hesitation, the human raised a weapon that none of them had ever seen before. It was a strange, sleek pulse rifle, humming with a deadly energy. With one shot, the human disabled the nearest alien ship, sending it crashing to the ground in a fiery explosion. Lyra's team watched in shock as the human soldier moved with incredible speed and accuracy, taking out one alien ship after another. It was as if they were completely in control of the situation, despite being vastly outnumbered. The human's actions were a mixture of skill and something else, something primal, something that spoke of an ancient strength. "Who are you?" Lyra called out, her voice filled with awe and confusion. The human didn't answer immediately. Instead, he focused on taking out the last of the alien ships with precision. When the last ship fell from the sky, the soldier finally turned to face them. "I'm Sergeant Rand." He spoke in a deep voice, his tone serious, but there was a hint of humor in his eyes. "And I suggest you keep your heads down, unless you want to get fried by the rest of them." The team, still stunned, scrambled to thank Ryan for saving their lives. But Lyra's mind raced. How could a single human have so much power? No technology they had ever encountered on Earth, not even the most advanced Council weapons, seemed to match the raw strength and precision of Ryan's actions. His bravery and skill were beyond anything they could have expected from a human. As the team regrouped, Ryan shared that Earth wasn't just a dangerous world. It was a world constantly at war. The planet had been a battleground for centuries, with humanity fighting both internal and external threats. These aliens that had attacked the team were just one of many hostile forces trying to prevent humanity from reclaiming its former glory. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest as she realized the truth. Earth, once thought to be a forgotten corner of the galaxy, was far from weak. Humanity had survived, even thrived, in a world more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. And now, the explorers had discovered that the humans were no longer just a myth. The mission had changed. "We need to warn the Council," Lyra said, her voice filled with determination. "There's much more to this planet than we realized." But before they could prepare to leave, Ryan's voice rang out again. "You're not the only ones who have been watching Earth," he warned. "There are others who will stop at nothing to make sure humanity stays hidden. You're not safe here." As the team looked around, they realized that their journey had just begun. They had stumbled upon something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. And the cliffhanger of their mission, it was only just beginning. The ruins stood before them, half hidden beneath the dense foliage of Earth's wild landscapes, as if the planet itself was trying to keep its secrets buried. Lyra and her team had been searching for answers, but what they discovered was more than they had ever expected. It wasn't just Earth's wildlife they had to fear, nor the hostile alien factions. No, what lay before them was a long-forgotten history, one that would change everything they knew about humanity. The ruins were unlike anything they had ever seen. Massive structures rose from the earth, their stone surfaces worn down by time, but still standing strong. They resembled temples, but their purpose was far different from anything the explorers had imagined. The team moved cautiously, their steps echoing in the silent air. It was as if they had crossed into a different world, one where the echoes of a civilization far older than the Galactic Council still lingered. Lyra motioned for the team to spread out. The air hummed with an eerie, almost magnetic energy, and the further they ventured into the ruins, the more they began to uncover. Towering stone pillars adorned with strange symbols stood like ancient guardians, protecting the hidden history of the humans. Deep inside the ruins, they discovered massive underground chambers, some of which seemed to stretch on endlessly. The deeper they went, the more the technology around them began to show its true nature. It wasn't just old architecture they had found. Beneath the dust and decay lay artifacts of unimaginable power, starships, weapons, and relics that hummed with an energy far beyond their understanding. Massive starships, seemingly abandoned, were buried deep under layers of earth. The ships were more advanced than anything the explorers had ever seen. Their sleek metallic surfaces shimmered with a light that seemed to pulse with life. "Could these really be human ships?" one of the explorers whispered, his voice trembling with awe. The answer came when they found a vault buried beneath the ruins. It was protected by a force field that hummed with a strange energy. After hours of work, they managed to disable the field, allowing them to access the vault. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing AI cores, dormant yet powerful, still pulsing with life after centuries of disuse. One by one, the explorers took in the scene before them, their eyes wide with disbelief. The relics in the vault weren't just ancient weapons. They were remnants of a civilization that had mastered the very fabric of space and time. These were not the tools of an ordinary species. Humanity, it seemed, had once been a force to be reckoned with. It was then that Sergeant Ryan, the human hero, wandered away from the group, drawn to a strange, shimmering pedestal in the center of the room. Atop the pedestal was a relic unlike any other. It was a small, intricate device that seemed to hum with a strange energy, its surface covered in symbols that Ryan couldn't understand. Without thinking, he reached out and activated the device. The moment his fingers made contact, the world seemed to shift. A bright light enveloped him, and for a moment, everything went silent. The rest of the team watched in stunned silence as Ryan stood frozen, the device still glowing in his hand. Then, as if awakening from a deep slumber, a voice, cold and mechanical, spoke. "New commander detected," the voice said, echoing through the chamber. "Initiating system reboot." The explorers stared in shock as the relic came to life. It wasn't just an artifact. It was an ancient AI system, dormant for centuries, and it had chosen Ryan as its new commander. Lyra rushed forward, her heart pounding. Ryan, what did you do? Ryan, still dazed, stared at the device in his hand. The AI had connected with him, its consciousness intertwining with his. He felt its power surge through him, a flood of information rushing into his mind. He could feel the knowledge of an entire civilization filling his thoughts, starship designs, weaponry, tactics, and much more. The AI was old, but it was not obsolete. It was the key to everything they had been searching for. But as the AI began to speak again, its voice grew colder, more distant. Commander Ryan, it said, you are now the leader of the human legacy. Prepare to defend humanity's secret. Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. There was something unsettling about the AI's words. She knew that this discovery, this relic, wasn't just a blessing. It was a curse. The AI, once a tool for humanity's survival, had now bound itself to Ryan, and with it came a dangerous responsibility. The team wasn't just dealing with an ancient civilization anymore. They were dealing with a power that had the potential to reshape the galaxy. As the AI continued to speak, its words became more ominous. Alert. Tracking signal active. Hostile forces detected. Prepare for engagement. Before they could react, a loud, deafening sound filled the air, like the roar of 1,000 engines. The ground shook beneath them as massive ships began to appear in the sky, their shapes dark and menacing against the backdrop of the setting sun. The explorers had been discovered. The relic, the AI, had alerted the galaxy to their presence. Lyra's heart sank. The alien fleet that had been hunting them, the very fleet they had narrowly escaped earlier, was closing in, and this time, they weren't alone. The AI had sent out a distress signal, calling attention to Earth. The galaxy now knew that humanity still existed. We need to leave now. Lyra shouted, her voice strained with urgency. This is no longer a simple mission. We've awakened something we can't control. Ryan, still holding the relic, looked at her, his face a mixture of confusion and fear. What's happening? What have I done? You've activated something that's going to bring the whole galaxy down on us. Lyra said, her voice filled with regret. We have to stop it before it's too late. But as the AI continued to pulse, its energy growing stronger, it became clear that the relic was malfunctioning. The light around them intensified, and a massive energy pulse shot out into the sky, flashing across the stars. It was a beacon, a call to arms that echoed through the galaxy. The alien fleet, now aware of humanity's presence, began its descent, preparing to obliterate Earth and all those who stood in its way. With no time to waste, Lyra turned to her team. We have to stop this. We can't let Earth be destroyed. But as the relic began to pulse erratically, sending out more powerful signals, the explorers realized one terrifying truth. There was no way to reverse what had been done. The galaxy had been alerted to humanity's survival, and the fight for Earth had only just begun. The team raced to find a way to deactivate the AI, but it was already too late. The galaxy was on its way, and Earth would never be the same. The relic's power had unleashed something far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. As the first alien ships descended, their weapons charging, the explorers braced themselves for what was coming next. But they knew one thing for certain. Their journey had just taken a turn from which there would be no return. The fate of humanity was now in their hands. The horizon burned as the alien fleet descended. Massive ships filled the sky, casting shadows over the land below. Their sleek, metallic forms blotted out the sun, and the air crackled with the ominous hum of their engines. This was no longer just a mission. This was war. The Galactic Council had sent its most elite soldiers, led by an AI-controlled fleet, to eliminate the human threat before it could rise again. They were determined to wipe out humanity before they could harness the power they had uncovered. Lyra and her team stood on the edge of a precipice, staring at the vast sky above. They had thought they were only a few steps away from uncovering humanity's lost legacy, but now they found themselves fighting for the very survival of Earth. The AI-controlled fleet, with its advanced weaponry, was overwhelming. Earth's defenses were primitive in comparison. No amount of preparation could have prepared them for what was about to unfold. Ryan stood beside Lyra, his expression hardened. The young soldier, who had once been an ordinary man, now carried the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. He could feel the pulse of the ancient relic within him, its power both a gift and a curse. With it, he could feel humanity's forgotten strength, an unimaginable force. But even that might not be enough to defeat the alien invaders. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and vastly outmatched. "We're out of time," Lyra said, her voice filled with determination. "We need to fight, no matter what. Earth is our home, and we can't let it fall without a fight." The soldiers around them, though scared, nodded in agreement. There was no turning back now. They were about to face something far beyond their comprehension. The alien ships, which hovered ominously above them, began to release wave after wave of devastating energy blasts. The ground shook beneath them as explosions ripped through the earth. The sky lit up with bright flashes, and a sense of dread gripped everyone present. The battle had begun. The first wave of alien ships unleashed an orbital bombardment, turning entire cities into molten ruins. The lasers from the alien ships scorched the Earth's surface, setting entire forests ablaze. Buildings crumbled in an instant, and smoke filled the air. The human forces scrambled to find cover, but there was no safe place. The bombardment was relentless, and it seemed as if all hope was lost. But then, in the midst of the chaos, Ryan saw something, a glimmer of hope. The ancient weapons they had discovered in the ruins of the starships weren't just relics. They were tools of unimaginable power. Ryan's heart raced as he realized that they could fight back. The weapons were dormant, but they could be activated. He turned to Lyra, his voice urgent. "We have to use them. We have no choice." Lyra hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Let's do it." With the help of the rest of the team, Ryan and Lyra activated the weapons. The energy coursed through the air as they powered up, their enormous destructive potential now at their command. The weapons hummed to life, and Ryan felt a strange connection to them, as if they recognized him as their rightful wielder. He could feel the power of humanity's ancient legacy coursing through him, and for the first time since the invasion began, he felt a flicker of hope. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the first weapon fired, sending a massive shockwave into the sky. The blast tore through the air, disintegrating alien ships in its path. It was a force unlike anything the invaders had ever seen. But the alien fleet was relentless, and for every ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. The battle raged on for hours. The human forces, though greatly outmatched, fought with a fierce determination. They used their knowledge of Earth's terrain to their advantage, setting traps, ambushing the alien forces, and using the environment itself as a weapon. They had no advanced technology to match the alien invaders, but they had something far more powerful, the will to survive. Lyra and Ryan fought side by side, their bond growing stronger as the battle wore on. As they shared glances between gunfire and explosions, they knew that this was more than just a fight for survival. It was a fight for everything they had ever known, everything they had ever loved. Their connection, once just a flicker of understanding, had grown into something more. They fought not just for their lives, but for the future of the human race. But the cost of their struggle was high. One by one, their soldiers fell. Some were taken out by the aliens' advanced weapons, others by the brutal forces of nature that had been unleashed in the wake of the bombardment. Every loss cut deeper, but it only fueled their determination. They couldn't afford to lose. Earth's future depended on them. As the battle continued, Ryan found himself at the forefront, leading a ground assault against an advancing alien battalion. The alien forces were relentless, their ships descending upon the battlefield, firing deadly lasers and missiles. The humans, though armed with ancient weapons, were hopelessly outclassed. But they fought with everything they had, relying on tactics, resourcefulness, and their unshakable will to survive. The moment of truth arrived when the alien fleet launched a final devastating assault, aiming to wipe out the last remnants of humanity's resistance. Ryan, with his heart pounding, looked at Lyra. "We have to end this now," he said, his voice strained. Lyra nodded. "We have one last chance." Ryan knew what they had to do. He turned to the ancient relic in his hand, the AI system that had been with them from the beginning. The AI, now a part of him, pulsed with energy as he activated the dormant superweapon hidden deep within it. He could feel the energy building, the raw power coiling in the air. His heart raced, knowing that this might be their only shot. With a final, deafening roar, the superweapon activated. A massive shockwave erupted, sending a pulse of energy so powerful that it obliterated the alien fleet in one swift blow. The alien ships disintegrated in a blaze of light, their massive structures reduced to nothing but ashes. For a moment, there was silence. But then, the consequences of using the weapon became clear. The ground beneath them trembled violently, and the sky above them seemed to crack. The ancient power they had unleashed came at a cost that would forever change the world they had fought so hard to protect. Ryan collapsed to his knees, the relic still glowing in his hands. They had won, but at what price? The fate of Earth and humanity's place in the galaxy hung in the balance as the aftermath of the battle began to unfold. The night sky was a sea of stars, but the stillness of space did little to calm the storm that brewed on Earth. After the devastating battle, when hope seemed all but lost, humanity's strength had proven its worth. Yet, beneath the victory, something darker was taking shape, a betrayal that threatened everything. The captains and their teams gathered, weary from the battle, unsure of what the next steps would be. Ryan stood beside Lyra, the two of them looking at the remnants of the alien fleet that lay scattered across the sky. But beneath the quiet victory, there was an unease in the air, an almost tangible sense that the fight was far from over. They hadn't defeated their enemies. They had only delayed them. Lyra's thoughts were interrupted by a voice that shattered the calm. A figure stepped out of the shadows, a familiar face from the Galactic Council. It was one of the high-ranking members who had been overseeing the mission from the very beginning, a seemingly loyal ally. His face twisted with a sneer, his expression cold and calculating. "You've done well," the council member said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But you've been played." The words hit like a blow. Ryan's stomach turned, and Lyra's eyes narrowed in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" Lyra demanded, her voice sharp. "We fought for Earth's survival, and now we're standing together." The council member's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Survival? No, Captain. You and your crew have been nothing more than pawns in a much bigger game." Lyra felt a cold shiver run down her spine as the truth began to unfold. The council member revealed that the mission had never been about saving Earth or uncovering the ancient relics. It had all been part of a larger plan to manipulate humanity and use Earth as a weapon. The Galactic Council had wanted the relics' power to dominate the galaxy, and they had been using Lyra's team to find and activate them. "You were sent here to unlock the relics, to awaken them so we could control their power," the council member continued. "Your mission was always to subjugate Earth, to use humanity's power in the war against other galactic factions." The betrayal was too much to comprehend. Lyra stood frozen, trying to digest the words. She had trusted the council, believed in their cause. But now, it seemed that every step of her mission had been manipulated for an entirely different reason. Earth, her home, was nothing more than a tool to be exploited. Her entire crew, her allies, had been sent to ensure that the relics would fall into the wrong hands. Ryan could feel the anger building inside him. The relics had once belonged to humanity, and they had been hidden for a reason. But now they were being used by the very forces that threatened everything. He couldn't let that happen. Not now, not after everything they had fought for. The council member's smug grin widened. "You see, The power of the relics will change the tide of war. With it, we'll crush our enemies and rule the galaxy. And you, Captain, will be nothing more than a footnote in our history." Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. She had trusted the Galactic Council, and now they had betrayed her. But she wasn't going to let them destroy Earth or humanity's future. She turned to Ryan, her eyes filled with resolve. "We can't let this happen. We need to stop him." Ryan nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. He had once believed that the relics could be humanity's salvation, but now he saw them for what they truly were, a dangerous weapon that could tear the galaxy apart if placed in the wrong hands. It was up to them to stop this madness. The council member reached for a hidden weapon, his hand trembling slightly as he activated a device that opened a hidden doorway in the floor. Before they could react, he disappeared into the depths of the ancient starship, a massive vessel hidden beneath the surface of the Earth. Ryan and Lyra exchanged a look, then followed him into the darkened depths. The starship was unlike anything they had ever seen. Massive and ancient, it had once been a symbol of humanity's power, but now it was a battleground. The ship's corridors were dark and eerie, filled with the hum of forgotten technology. As they ventured deeper, they found themselves inside the heart of the ship, where the relics had been stored for centuries. But they weren't alone. The council member was waiting for them, his eyes cold and calculating. "You should have stayed out of this," he sneered. "Now you'll pay the price for defying the Galactic Council." Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady but full of rage. "You used us. You manipulated us for your own gain. This ends now." The council member activated the ship's defenses, triggering an alarm that echoed through the halls. Suddenly, the room was filled with alien soldiers, advanced machines, and the deadly hum of energy weapons. Ryan and Lyra stood back to back, prepared to fight to the death if necessary. The battle that followed was brutal. The enemy was relentless, and their firepower was overwhelming. But Ryan and Lyra fought with everything they had, their bond stronger than ever. They moved with precision, taking down one enemy after another. The alien soldiers fell, but for every one that dropped, two more seemed to appear. Amid the chaos, Ryan caught sight of the council member, standing near the relics, his hand hovering over a control panel. He was preparing to unleash the relic's power, but Ryan couldn't let that happen. With a burst of speed, he lunged at the council member, knocking him away from the control panel. A fierce struggle ensued, and Ryan found himself locked in combat with the council member. The betrayal was personal now. He had to stop him, for humanity's sake. The two fought viciously, their movements a blur of punches and energy blasts. But Ryan was determined. With one final blow, he disarmed the council member, sending him sprawling to the ground. He stood over him, breathing heavily. The council member's eyes were filled with fury. "You don't understand," he hissed. "The relics are the key to ultimate power. You can't stop this." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "I've stopped enough of you already." With that, Ryan made his choice. He activated the relics, the power within them surging into him. The ground beneath them trembled, and a wave of energy spread across the ship. But the consequences were immediate. The power was too much for one person to control, and the ship began to shake violently, its systems overloading. As the council member's body crumpled at his feet, Ryan realized that the fate of Earth and humanity's place in the galaxy depended on one final, impossible choice: unleash the full power of the relics, risking everything, or let Earth fall into the hands of those who would use it for destruction. The stakes had never been higher, and Ryan was the only one who could decide Earth's future. The ship shook violently as the raw power of the relics surged through the ancient starship, flooding every corner with an intensity that seemed almost unbearable. The ground beneath their feet rumbled as if the very heart of the ship was awakening from a deep slumber. Ryan's fingers trembled on the control panel, the weight of his decision pressing down on him like never before. He had chosen to activate the relics, and now there was no turning back. In that moment, He could feel the power of the relics coursing through his veins, filling him with an overwhelming sense of strength and clarity. The ancient AI that had once been dormant now hummed to life, its presence reverberating through the ship like an all-powerful force. It spoke in a voice that resonated deep within Ryan's mind, its words clear and purposeful. "You have chosen wisely, Commander," the AI's voice echoed. "Together, we shall purge the galaxy of the alien threat." Ryan's heart raced as he looked around. Lyra, standing beside him, her face a mixture of awe and fear, could feel the energy too. The ship's systems were coming online at an alarming rate, and the relic's power was more than they could have ever imagined. But there was no time to waste. The alien fleet was still descending upon them, its forces seemingly endless. The humans, though brave, were outmatched in every way. Yet, with the relics and the AI now under their control, there was a glimmer of hope. Lyra turned to Ryan, her eyes filled with a mix of admiration and sadness. "We've lost so many already. Will we even survive this?" Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, his grip firm but gentle. "We will. We have to." The AI, now fully sentient, extended its reach beyond the starship, activating a massive network of ancient weaponry scattered across the Earth's surface. At once, thousands of dormant machines sprang to life, their deadly weapons locking onto the alien fleet that was swiftly approaching. A hum of power filled the air as the first wave of attacks was unleashed. From above, the alien fleet descended, massive warships gliding through the sky, their weapons charged and ready to wipe Earth from existence. But humanity had changed the game. The relic's power had tipped the scales in their favor. Energy beams from the ancient weapons sliced through the alien ships, tearing them apart in blinding flashes of light. The AI's strategic calculations were flawless, targeting weak points in the alien ships and exploiting every vulnerability. On the ground, Ryan and Lyra led a ground assault, their forces now bolstered by advanced weaponry that the relics had provided. They fought side by side, their bond stronger than ever. Each strike against the alien invaders, a small victory in the battle for Earth's future. It was an all-out war, but this time, humanity had the upper hand. As the battle raged on, Ryan couldn't help but think of the comrades they had lost along the way. Many had given their lives in the fight for survival, and the weight of their sacrifices pressed heavily on his heart. But now, their fight had come to this, the final confrontation with the alien invaders. The battle was far from over, but there was hope, and that was something humanity had never truly had before. With each wave of alien ships that fell, the humans gained ground, pushing back the invaders with relentless force. The AI, now fully integrated into their systems, communicated with Ryan and Lyra through a series of commands, guiding them in every maneuver, every attack. It was as if they had become one, united in their purpose. The alien fleet was being dismantled, piece by piece, as humanity's newfound strength overwhelmed them. But there was still one final obstacle to overcome: the command ship, a massive vessel that housed the remaining forces of the alien army. If they didn't destroy it, the war would never truly end. Ryan and Lyra, determined to see it through, made their way to the heart of the battle, where the alien command ship loomed like a dark cloud in the sky. It was surrounded by a protective shield, a last line of defense that had to be breached if they were to win. Ryan, his mind sharp from the power of the relics, formulated a plan. Together with Lyra and their forces, they would launch one final assault. The final attack was swift and decisive. With a coordinated strike, they shattered the shield protecting the command ship, allowing the relic's weapons to fire directly at its core. A massive explosion erupted, sending shockwaves through the atmosphere as the alien command ship was obliterated. The remaining alien forces scattered, retreating in fear as the humans stood victorious. The war was over. Humanity had won. But the victory came at a great cost. The relic's power had taken its toll on Ryan and Lyra, their bodies and minds worn from the strain of wielding such immense energy. The AI, once a tool of destruction, now seemed almost sad as it spoke to them for the final time. Humanity has proven itself worthy, the AI said. The galaxy will never forget what you have accomplished. Ryan, standing amidst the ruins of the battle, gazed up at the stars. Earth had been saved, but the future was uncertain. What would the Galactic Council do now? Would they welcome humanity into the fold, or would they leave them to rebuild on their own? The relics had given them power, but it was up to humanity to decide how to use it. Would they rise as the galaxy's new protectors, or would they retreat into the shadows, wary of the dangers that awaited them? Lyra stood beside him, her expression a mixture of exhaustion and relief. We've won, but the real battle is just beginning. Ryan nodded, his gaze still fixed on the stars. We'll rebuild, Lyra. We'll make our own future. No one will control our destiny again. The future of humanity had been forged in the fires of war, and now it was theirs to shape. The relics had given them the strength to stand tall against the odds, but it was their will, their resilience, that would ensure they never fell again. As the smoke cleared and the stars above Earth shone bright, Ryan couldn't help but feel that the true story of humanity was just beginning. What they had accomplished would echo across the galaxy, not as a myth, but as a testament to humanity's strength, courage, and unwavering resolve. Earth had proven its worth, and now the galaxy would learn what it truly meant to face humanity. The future was theirs to command.